Every single day, millions of people across North America do the exact same thing without thinking twice. We take our meal-prepped chicken, our leftover rice, or last night's healthy spinach out of the refrigerator, pop it into the microwave, and heat it up until it is steaming hot. We do this because our brains love convenience. In psychology, there is a concept known as cognitive easing. It means that when a habit feels easy, familiar, and comfortable, our minds automatically tag it as safe. We assume that if food is heated thoroughly enough, it is perfectly fine to eat. But that comfortable feeling might be tricking us into doing quiet, long-term damage to our health. Data shows that poor dietary habits are now the second leading modifiable risk factor for chronic health issues worldwide, ranking right behind tobacco use. In fact, nearly 1 in 6 long-term cellular health conditions globally are tied directly to overall dietary factors. This includes not just what we buy at the grocery store, but how that food is stored, handled, and reheated over time. Yet, almost no one is talking about what happens to certain foods at the molecular level when they are reheated for a second or a third time. The chemical reactions that take place during this process are completely silent. You cannot see them, you cannot smell them, and they do not change the flavor of your dinner. But they are happening inside your food and eventually inside your body. My name is John, and I want to walk you through 4 common foods sitting in your refrigerator right now that undergo documented chemical transformations when reheated, transformations that carry a measurable long-term health risk. Please stay with me until the end of this video, because the 4th food on our list is one that almost every health-conscious person believes is completely safe. That belief, unfortunately, is a mistake. Before we go any further, I want to clarify something important. This is not about an immediate inconvenience like an upset stomach or standard food poisoning. What we are discussing is the slow, cumulative build-up of unstable compounds inside your body over months and years. It is the kind of quiet, cellular stress that goes unnoticed until it becomes much more difficult to manage. Cellular damage rarely happens overnight. It is a gradual progression, and the building blocks of that process often enter our bodies right through our own kitchens. We live in a culture that praises efficiency, especially when it comes to cooking. But the choices that save us 10 minutes today can sometimes cost us down the road. The compounds formed during the repeated heating of certain foods are classified by global health organizations as known or probable hazards. These are not theoretical concerns, they are documented chemical reactions that occur on your stovetop or inside your microwave when the wrong foods are heated the wrong way. The people at the greatest risk are not those with unusual diets. They are ordinary people making what they believe are healthy food choices: lean proteins, cooked vegetables, rice, and eggs. Let us take a moment to look at the actual science behind why this happens. Explained simply, so you can protect yourself and your family. To understand this, we need a very brief look at food chemistry. When food is cooked for the very first time, heat produces predictable and beneficial reactions. Proteins unfold to become digestible, starches soften, and flavors develop. However, when you reheat food that has already undergone these structural changes, especially food that has been sitting in a refrigerator exposed to oxygen for several hours or days, an entirely different set of reactions begins. First, there is oxidation. Fats and proteins that absorb oxygen during storage become chemically unstable. When you apply high heat a second time, these fragile molecules break down into reactive byproducts capable of stressing human DNA. Second, we see advanced glycation end products, often called AGEs. These form when proteins and sugars are repeatedly exposed to high temperatures, promoting chronic inflammation in the body. Finally, there is nitrite conversion, where natural compounds in vegetables transform into unstable variations during storage and reheating. Keep these concepts in mind as we count down our 4 foods. Let us start with food number 1, cooked rice. Rice is a staple in millions of households across the United States and Canada, and reheating leftover rice is an incredibly common habit. The primary issue here actually begins during the time the rice spends cooling down. Raw rice naturally contains the spores of a bacterium that are highly resilient and easily survive the initial cooking process. If cooked rice is allowed to cool slowly at room temperature, or if it sits in a large deep container in the fridge where the core stays warm for hours, these spores wake up, multiply, and release toxins. Here is the crucial part. While reheating the rice a second time might kill the active bacteria, it does absolutely nothing to destroy the heat-resistant toxins they have already produced. Those toxins survive the microwave completely intact. Furthermore, repeating the heating process on starchy foods like rice accelerates the formation of acrylamide. Acrylamide is a chemical compound produced when natural sugars react with specific amino acids under high heat. Major research agencies classify acrylamide as a probable human hazard to cellular health. To handle this safely, you do not have to stop eating rice. Just change how you store it. Immediately after cooking, spread the rice out on a shallow tray so it cools down to room temperature rapidly. Get it into the refrigerator within 1 hour, consume it within 24 hours, and never reheat it more than once. If you heat up a portion and cannot finish it, discard the rest rather than putting it back in the fridge. Food number 2 is cooked chicken. Chicken is widely considered the gold standard for lean protein, especially for seniors looking to maintain muscle mass and fitness enthusiasts managing their diets. Because a large batch of chicken is convenient, it is frequently used for weekly meal prepping. Human psychology shows that when we establish a routine like batch cooking chicken, our brains block out potential risks because we focus entirely on the reward of saving time. However, when chicken muscle tissue is exposed to high temperatures for a second time, it undergoes rapid protein and lipid oxidation. Because chicken contains delicate fatty acids, storing it exposes those fats to oxygen. Blasting it with heat again breaks those molecules down into compounds known as heterocyclic amines, or HCAs, alongside lipid peroxides. In health research, HCAs are heavily studied because liver enzymes can metabolize them into reactive compounds that interact directly with cellular DNA. Studies have found that regular consumption of highly heated or repeatedly reheated poultry was associated with a statistically significant increase in long-term digestive tract stress. You can actually see this structural change happening yourself. Think about how chicken changes texturally when you put it in the microwave. It often becomes rubbery, dry, and develops a distinct, unpleasant flavor known as warmed-over flavor. That taste is the literal sensory profile of oxidized fats. To avoid this, try eating your leftover chicken cold. Sliced cold chicken breast is excellent in sandwiches, salads, or wraps, and skipping the microwave completely prevents those secondary chemical reactions from occurring. Food number 3 brings us to spinach and other nitrate-rich leafy greens like celery, beets, and Swiss chard. We are constantly told to eat more dark leafy greens, and that is excellent advice because fresh or freshly cooked spinach is packed with iron, folate, and beneficial nitrates that relax your blood vessels and support healthy blood pressure. The issue only arises when cooked spinach is stored and then reheated later in the week. Leafy greens are naturally rich in nitrates. Once cooked spinach sits in the refrigerator, ordinary, completely harmless bacteria on the leaves begin a biological process that converts those beneficial nitrates into nitrites. This is the exact same chemical conversion that occurs when manufacturing processed meats. When you take that day-old spinach and heat it up on the stove or in the microwave, you're applying intense heat to a vegetable that is now highly concentrated with nitrites. Under heat, these nitrites react with the amino acids naturally present in the vegetable to form nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are among the most potent dietary compounds studied in modern toxicology, with regular exposure heavily linked to chronic irritation of the stomach and esophageal linings. International food safety authorities have even issued formal public guidance warning consumers about the risks of repeatedly heating nitrate-heavy vegetables. The solution here is straightforward. Cook your spinach fresh and eat it right away. If you do happen to have leftovers, eat them cold. Mix the cold-cooked spinach into a morning smoothie, or eat it directly out of the fridge. Do not subject it to a second round of high heat. Finally, let us look at food number 4. Eggs. This is the one that surprises almost everyone. Eggs are an almost perfect source of nutrition, offering high-quality protein, brain-supporting choline, and essential minerals. However, a whole egg is roughly 13% fat, and almost all of that fat and cholesterol is heavily concentrated right in the yolk. When an egg is cooked the first time, the cholesterol and fats undergo a normal, mild amount of oxidation. But when a cooked egg sits in the refrigerator and is then subjected to the rapid, intense, and uneven heat of a microwave, it triggers secondary lipid oxidation at an accelerated pace. This process creates a specific group of compounds called oxysterols, which are severely altered forms of cholesterol. Comprehensive reviews have concluded that oxysterols show clear toxic effects on human cells, causing direct stress to the genetic material inside your cells. When DNA experiences repeated stress, the risk of abnormal cellular behavior increases. Additionally, rapid microwave heating causes the sulfur-containing amino acids in eggs, like cysteine, to degrade, which can cause localized oxidative stress in the delicate lining of your digestive tract. To avoid this entirely, change your preparation routine. If you enjoy hard-boiled eggs for breakfast, keep them in the refrigerator with their shells still completely on, and peel them right before you eat them cold. If you have an egg-based dish like a quiche or a frittata that you absolutely must warm up, stay away from the microwave. Use a gentle, low-temperature oven or a warm water bath to keep the heating process indirect and under 165 degrees Fahrenheit or 74 degrees Celsius. Let us bring all of this together into a practical strategy for your kitchen. The goal of understanding this biochemistry is not to make you afraid of your food or to cause unnecessary worry. Fear paralyzes us, but knowledge empowers us. It is simply about giving you the information you need to make small, deliberate adjustments that protect your long-term wellness. To summarize, try to follow 3 simple rules in your kitchen. First, practice the rule of 1 cook, 1 reheat. Never heat a meal up for a third time. If you cannot finish a reheated portion, it is safest to discard it. Second, lower the temperature. Microwaves create intense, uneven hot spots that rapidly accelerate oxidation. Whenever possible, choose a low-temperature traditional oven, a steamer or a covered skillet on low heat to gently warm your food. Third, and perhaps most effectively, try to adjust your cooking portions so that you produce fewer leftovers in the first place. I want to thank you for spending this time with me today on Forever Young Health. I genuinely want to know your thoughts. Which of these 4 foods surprised you the most? Are you someone who regularly reheats chicken and rice? or was the spinach a surprise to you? Please let me know in the comments below as I read through them to help guide our future educational topics. If you found this clear, evidence-based breakdown helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. We publish new practical health insights every single week, entirely focused on solid research without any hype. Take a moment to share this video with a neighbor, a friend, or a family member who relies heavily on their microwave, because helping the people we care about make informed choices is the very core of preventive health. Thank you for watching, take care of yourself, and I will see you in our next video.